Thanks for joining me for this edition of On Location with JustHelicopters.tv. I'm Lynn Burks, and I'm on location with Broward County Sheriff's Office and Night Flight Concepts. Now, Night Flight Concepts is a company that's neck deep in a movement right now that's occurring within the helicopter industry towards night vision goggles. I recently had the opportunity to participate in an NVG training course provided by Night Flight Concepts. This training was presented to the Broward County Sheriff's Office Aviation Unit, who operates 3 different helicopters in both law enforcement and EMS missions. Those helicopters include an EC-130, an EC-135, and an AS-350. This training was the first introduction of NVGs to the Broward County Sheriff's Office mission profile, so it was a perfect opportunity to see how Night Flight Concepts introduces NVGs to helicopter operators. Before we jump into Night Flight Concepts, the Broward County Sheriff's Office, and the training side of things, let's take a quick look at some of the high points of night vision goggles themselves.
Night vision goggles work by amplifying the existing light that's out there. Now, the objective lens, the lens on the end, actually gathers the light and sends it into the image intensifier tube. And then as it gets amplified, it's actually cast on the eye by the objective or the eyepiece lens. Now, inside the image intensifier tube, this is the image intensifier assembly. This is where the light energy actually gets converted into an electrical energy. It gets amplified thousands of times and then converted back into a light energy.
So that's where all the magic happens.
That is where all the magic happens.
Before we move along, here are a couple more interesting facts about night vision technology. Night vision devices are not new technology by any stretch of the imagination. In typical American fashion, I was shocked to learn that the U.S. was not the first to own the night. The first night vision devices were actually developed by the Germans in the mid-1930s for the German Army. The U.S. military did not begin using night vision devices until World War II and more broadly in the Vietnam War. Hang tight and stay tuned for the next segment of this multi-part series on night flight concepts and night vision goggles.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions and runway assignments. Advise on initial contact, you have ATIS information, whiskey.
Alright, Com 1, Com 2.
The rising accident rate in the helicopter EMS market seems to be the primary fueler in this race to NVG implementation. Whether pure luck or great planning, Night Flight Concepts' timing could not be better. I spent a few minutes with Adam Aldis and John Wardle, both pioneers of the company, to learn a little more about Night Flight Concepts and the services they offer.
Night Flight Concepts was formed between me and 2 really good old-time friends of mine on our second tour over in Iraq. Actually, sitting on the bunk after a long air assault mission for a couple days, and the 3 of us went through our different experiences in the Army, mine being in standardization, and John's being in safety, and David's being in maintenance. It made sense for us to start an NVG company, because that's all we had done over there. We lived at nighttime.
As it turns out, this small company born out of a military conflict has much more to offer than just NVG training for pilots. They have grown and diversified themselves to become an international company who can be a turnkey solution for any operator with a desire to implement NVGs.
In addition to those services, we do have strategic alignments with companies such as RB Technologies for NVG cockpit lighting, Nivisys for the only FAA TSO goggles, and Night Readiness for the high-fidelity virtual terrain board system. and night readiness for the high fidelity virtual terrain board system. The virtual terrain board system is a great technology, and it's a high fidelity simulation of the nighttime environment. We have multiple scenes that reflect the different types of environments that someone would fly in. A high contrast environment, a low contrast environment, environments with undulating terrain throughout.
Okay, so that was under 50% illumination. Let's take a look at it. The same area now, it's a rural environment, right? Not much cultural lighting, but we're still able to pick up just on the starlight some good texture down there and good contrast.
We can manipulate or change the actual moon in the sky at any azimuth. We can change the illumination of that moon. We can put in cloud layers to simulate an overhead or overcast night. And we are able to show these scenes to the student or to the pilot or crew member prior to actually getting out in the aircraft and seeing it for the first time.
Hang tight and stay tuned for the next segment of this multi-part series on night flight concepts and night vision goggles. In our continuing discussion with John and Adam, we asked them what type of modifications were typically required to aircraft to be NVG compatible. We also asked them what type of operators would typically use NVGs.
Instrument lights need to be modified to where they are compliant with the night vision goggles. They're not casting a sheen on the windscreen.
In other areas such as EMS operations, the equipment in the back, the emergency medical equipment also needs to be modified.
And a radar altimeter installed, certainly because we have that limitation of distance and estimation and depth perception.
Landings, I feel like I should already be down. I'm not. Okay.
External lighting, position lights, go through some modification or may go through some modification. Anti-collision lights under certain operations, be it military, do have some capability of going covert anti-collision light. Most in particular law enforcement, but also emergency medical services, and those are the two main ones right now.
We'll be able to use these goggles. Probably our best use of them will be in the Florida Everglades. We do get a lot of nighttime medevacs out there.
Secondary markets, or the markets that are coming up now, are civil aviation, charter, low agricultural flying, mosquito control. It makes sense if anyone is flying at nighttime to be using this technology properly.
Hang tight and stay tuned for the next segment of this multi-part series on night flight concepts and night vision goggles.